Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. We are here to watch the. Whoops. What? Oh, thank you, Miss Sarah. Thank you. Hello, everybody. We're here to watch the criminal in chief, ex-criminal in chief, be booked in Georgia on RICO charges. It's glorious. So thank you for being here. I'm going to turn this off here, right here. I'm still putting my lipstick on and what have you, but I wanted to come in because I came in a few minutes early. Whoops, I just lost. Okay, because I wanted to share something with you that Sarah showed me. So if you can see that. He's coming in for landing in Atlanta. Coming in on, there we go. So we can see that. I am going to put my lipstick on, so it'll take me a second to kind of catch on. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you for that link. That was great. Oh, Sarah got it from me. Thank you. All right. Well, it's going to get dark. Good evening. It's going to get dark as the sun goes down. Exactly, lucky girl. It's Con Air. Sorry. Hang on. No, it gets dark. It's going to get dark here, so I'm trying to find. I tried to find the brightest lipstick I have. So, Hope you guys liked the. Hope you guys liked the cover. I was quite pleased with that. Yeah, being sorry, I am so rattled. I am trying to do 14 different things at once, and my brain is all over the place. And mostly, I'm just happy. I'm happy that we got to this day. It's finally here, exactly. Elflower 1 stars. We are finally here. So I'm going to change this background to, I don't know. I mean, I've used this one quite a bit. So I'm wondering if I should just heck with it, just go with the color. There, I'll go with the color because they do a lot of pink in prison. Sorry. They do. So, all right, there we go. All right, so let me choose some really bright nails. Hang on, I've got to make myself big for a second because I've got to choose my. Hello, everybody. All right, I need some nails that match. Something fun. Something bright, something fun. Let's see. Oh, Ashgood, thank you so much. Thank you. All right. So let me think. I'm thinking these jump out at me. This is what I do every day when I'm getting ready in the morning. I put the overlay up, I choose my shirt, and then, or choose my outfit, and then I start holding up the nails to see which ones match. Oh, is Becca here? Let me see. Yeah, that should work. Yeah, okay. Yay. It takes so little to make me happy. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry to hear that person. We can watch MSNBC. I was going to wait a minute to start, because what happens often is I get kicked out after a while. So the more we can talk outside of that, or I interrupt, the longer we can watch. He's just landed. Okay. Well, you don't need to be looking at me. And there we go. And it goes white here, so that would be him on the ground. Now you can see the planes lined up here to take off, and they're taking off here. He landed on, came to the ground there, taxiing to the airport. That's pretty cool. So, I was going to say something, but I'm not. Do you know those expressions we use every day that you're not quite sure just how dirty they are? But we can say the jerk has landed. There we go. That's clean enough. All right. What's going on MSNBC right now is Ari is talking to someone. Like Trump is usually. Oh, wait, hang on. I missed that. Oh, Valerie's eating Cheetos. Yum. Lecture Storm says usually you wear the same things when you come on for the second time the same day. Not always. Not always. And did someone say? Just having a quick look. Lucky Girl's here. Excellent. And Becca from House of Lenormand is here. Do we have mugshots of Mango Mussolini yet? No. He is in the plane that is taxiing. So, all right, here we go. So, okay, here we go. We can switch over now and share screen.
These are live shots. This is the fourth time that we have covered the arrest and booking of former President Trump. It doesn't get less weird. I know that you all have been covering this story for your shows that have happened already and your shows that are about to happen this evening. I feel a little bit of suspense in terms of what's going to happen here, in part because of the presence of cameras, in part because this is the last time, as far as we know, that Trump is going to be arrested and booked, and he's very aware of the media impact, the television impact of these sorts of moments. I feel like his actions, his potential remarks tonight are unpredictable in an interesting way.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is the culmination of Trump as spectacle. You know, if Trump did anything to our politics besides, corrupt them fundamentally and corrupt our democracy,
wait for the trial.
He really did solidify a trend, I think, that really had begun with JFK, the kind of, who became famous before he became president, the whole PT 109, the father funding that film, and him being a sort of young, gallant celebrity sort of president, and obviously Ronald Reagan, and just even the way that Bill Clinton, playing the saxophone. And we've increasingly expected spectacle from our presidents. President Obama, who had sort of the hip hop, kind of connections, et cetera. He is the culmination of that trend in American politics in the worst way. I mean, this is spectacle. This is reality TV. He is a reality TV star still, even as a former president. And this is both a pathetic and sort of sad moment for the country. It, I think, is a good moment for the idea that justice is equal. We are equal under law, even a former president. It is, I think it is his comeuppance. But it also, to me, says something really terrifying about our politics that I don't think we can fix. This is spectacle. This is gross.
It's interesting, though, because I think it's really
okay. I just want to say this very quickly because I feel very strongly about this. Nobody needs to have the name Barack Obama and Donald Trump in the same sentence. If the sentence is not, these two people could not be more opposite each other. One, Barack Obama is a decent, good human being who is a credit to our country and is one of the best presidents we have ever had. And God bless him.
Absolutely out of his control.
They're not remotely related. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
But he's got to be there for all the court dates now. You know, this is being imposed upon him in a way that he's going to try to turn to his advantage, but it's not in his control. He's a subject of the criminal justice system now, not a man who is pulling the strings.
But you know that, and I know that, and we know that on Earth One. He has so completely co-opted the process. I mean, Von Hilliard reported today that he's not the guy who wanted to fire Jeff Sessions when he recused from the Russia investigation because he was so afraid of criminal exposure. He's the guy that saw Bill Barr put his thumb on the scales of justice. He now thinks he controls everything, including this process. He's fundraising off it. He teased this. He wants this shot broadcast. He has co-opted it, and to his 30% of Americans, he is the producer of this show.
And he also produced it in the sense that he could have just accepted the peaceful transfer of power. It's what every other president did. Hillary Clinton, I'm sure, was devastated at losing an election to this guy. He was the most inadequate human being who's ever been president of the United States. She accepted it. She congratulated him. All 45 previous presidents have managed to do that very simple thing. George Washington didn't even have to do it. They didn't even ask him to do it before there was a 22nd Amendment. Everyone did it. He created this in the sense that we did not have to be here. Our democracy didn't have to be here. We didn't have to be in a position where the former president of the United States is now going to be booked like a common criminal and have a mugshot. That is his fault. He did it. He wanted the spectacle of being president for life. He wanted to not leave office. He wanted to be this. He decided to be king. And now he is the king of scandal and disrepute.
You know, I would say that coming out of the plane just now, the lady with the frosty hair, Susie Wiles, who is a Trump campaign manager and also a witness on the Bedminster tape. She is apparently riding Air Trump with the former president. I got to say, as I think about this moment, we were here last night at the same desk talking about another indicator in terms of our democracy, and that was the Republican debate. And I can't get the sort of part one, part two nature of the last 24 hours out of my head, which is last night on stage, without Trump, all of the leading nominees for the Republican presidential field raised their hands and said preemptively, I guess if you count out Asa Hutchinson, that they would pardon Donald Trump before any trial has been underway, there are any convictions.
Well, they would support him.
That they would support, that they would support him. And that tells you a lot, right? You can't separate that moment from this one right here. And his thorough co-opting of the Republican Party, his degradation of the Republican Party, his attempt to destroy a two-party system of politics, which is what is unfolding, I think, before our very eyes. I mean, we're going to see the mugshot, presumably, of a former president, right? This is terra incognito.
Since we have been on the air, we've crossed another never happened before moment for the American presidency, which is we've just, for the first time ever in U.S. history, had word from the New York Times that this president, this is now confirmed by NBC News, has chosen his bail bondsman. It's just bizarre, but Trump is going to use a commercial bail bondsman, Charles Shaw, Foster Bail Bonds in Georgia, to post his $200,000 bond. This has been confirmed by the bondsman himself.
Because that means
Trump
he only has
will
to
pay
put
the
up
bondsman 10% of his bail amount. So his bond was set at $200,000. He'll pay him $20,000 cash, presumably out of a big bag marked with a dollar sign on it, with a bandit mask on. And that should expedite his release.
And Rachel, this is why we've been reaching for mobster movies and gangster stories in hip hop, of which there are many in Atlanta. It's not a coincidence. It's relevant. Mr. Sato, who just replaced Drew Findling, represented Rick Ross. And as we await Donald Trump walking out and talking about the bonds, I mean, Rick Ross said, I'll kiss you on your head and tell you everything is great, even though I'm out on bond and facing 8. This is what career criminals talk like and face. And the fact that he needs a bail bondsman and he needs to show up and he can bring his money in his plane. Other rich people have, of course, tried to buy up a better deal in our system. We've all covered those stories, but it doesn't always work. I mean, I think tonight is very different because this is the case that hits the most people, that is federally unpardonable, even if remanded to federal court. Even if it's removed over there, it's still a state case with state punishment if convicted of any defendant. And so I don't see a good way out for him if convicted. It is possible that he could beat the case. We talk about how everyone's legally presumed innocent. Donald Trump is in such command of these details as we watch him walk out. He knows this is the worst case, I think.
A scumbag.
You know, and it's funny that you make that point, Ari, because, you know, Big Meech, right, for pretending sort of portraying Larry Hoover, portraying like a major drug dealer, but it's an artifice, right? It is an artifice of hip hop that you sort of portray the bad guy.
Okay, this is maybe not a nice thing for me to say. Thank you, Gina's Place. Thank you. This may not be a nice thing for me to say, but all I could think when he was waving and giving a thumbs up and all of that, all I could think was that old song. The lyrics in the chorus are, excuse me for being crude here, get your tongue out of my mouth, I'm kissing you goodbye. It's just like, no, this is not a thumbs up, wave to everybody. No, you are the scum of the earth. You have been found guilty of assault, of cheating children out of charity money, out of there's so many heinous things here, and there's nothing. This man does not deserve. And his financially, this house of cards is going to fall down. And the reason he's using a bail's bondsman is because it means he only has to put up $20,000. Because I don't know if he could get his hands on $200,000 to just take and go put somewhere other than paying a lawyer, because he is in dire financial straits. So, just saying. Yes, thank you, Becca. Thank you for reminding me. Ripping children away from their parents, locking them up. That too. Yeah, we do. Gallows humor is, you know, that's kind of, we do definitely do that. But I just wanted to say that, yeah, the loser has arrived.
His political heft in this country, as well as his just celebrity. With 19 co-defendants in this case, we are starting to see the sort of bluff called in terms of the financial aspects of this. Like, among other things, this is a lot of legal fees for a lot of people who are involved here. And this is him being tried along 18 other people, including people like Rudy Giuliani, who we believe owes lots of money to his existing lawyers and who's got his house on the market in New York and is known to be really, really at wit's end in terms of his financial status. We've seen another Trump lawyer, Jenna Ellis, publicly pleading for money because she's not getting any of the Trump donor money that he is using to pay his own defense. Trump legal defense is being funded by Trump's small dollar campaign donors.
30 cents to every dollar donated. I mean, and when you say private plane, it's not a private plane the way some rich business tycoon's plane is a private plane. It is a grifter plane. It is a plane that is paid for with the small dollar donors. In some cases, donors that are scammed into donating every single month, and scams that aren't even legal in a lot of places. So it's the trappings are all fake. I think I'm hung up on your point, Alex, that these 2 days do go together, because you had a field of candidates that stand for nothing, because everything they said, attacking cities, attacking America's urban centers, attacking immigrants coming over the border, is moot if they won't uphold a conviction for this guy, should he be convicted by a jury of his peers. So it starts from such a place, to both of your points, of sort of a fraudulent nature of the whole spectrum.
But and that's why this case is different and this DA is different.
You're right.
It really is. And so as we try to explain this or make sure everybody's on the same page of the facts, there's Trump and then there's all the other enablers. The political enablers, we know, is a political process and it will just play out. That is just freedom. The legal part, the coup enablers, team coup, right? This is the first DA that's charged anyone other than Trump.
That's right.
As you so.
And that is good. But I just wanted to say, Becca, yes. How many cities does he still owe for his rallies while he was president? He never paid. Exactly. Christy, a thread of hope. Christy did say, well, when they asked at the, what do you call it? At the debate last night, they asked, if Trump is chosen to be the candidate for the Republican Party, will you support him? Raise your hand. Half the people really on the right side of the whole right side of the stage raised their hands. And then a couple people kind of raised their hands. And then Chris Christie kind of went, and the moderator called him on it and said, you'd support? And he said, I went. But the fact that he even did that says a lot. Thank you, Mel. Thank you. And thank you, Jay. Thank you. All right, let's go back to this.
Case, and he has a strategy, and I think it has to do with speed. This is a federal case. But it is this DA who said to these 18 other people, if you tried to use racketeering and gang activity to illegally steal an election, you're in trouble. And by the way, even if Donald Trump were hypothetically to become the federal president again, these cases would be opened against Mr. Meadows and Mr. Giuliani and others, even if they take a long time. And there is no legal federal way to stop that. And so I think we are witnessing, again, there's the Trump of it, and we watch him go get booked, and that's a huge deal we've covered for that reason. And then there's the 18 other people who, until this week, were not booked for anything.
And by the way, I think the other way is that this DA, and I think she does stand out in the history of all of this, because she charged them all. And she said, I don't care who you are, Mr. Cheeseborough. I don't care who you are, Mr. Meadows. I know you were a former congressman, you were chief of staff to the president. That's real cute. You're going to come down here. You're going to walk in that jail just like any other person that's accused of being a criminal in my jurisdiction. You're going to get that mugshot. Meadows tried real hard to not get the mugshot. Clark tried not to get the mugshot. Guess what? Everybody gets the mugshot. So
she's won. Yes. She's been winning in court. So she's had to go to court, what, 2 or 3 times already? And she's prevailed on the date for Cheeseborough, should he cleave himself off. She proposed October 23rd. A judge today, I think while it was sometime between 4 and 6, ruled in her favor. She's prevailed so far in the Meadows case. He wanted to wait until his proceeding to move his case into federal court. So she's already, I mean, that's a long, long process. She's batting 1,000 in front of judges.
And it's, you know, we don't know. You can't tell what's going on inside a prosecution or inside any criminal investigation, except for what they say in court, except for what they publicly put out there, which is the way it should be, which is part of due process. But there was a sense with Fani Willis's investigation that she was telegraphing a very long time in advance that this was coming and that she was prepared. And she described it as imminent a long time before she finally brought the indictment. That's right. Probably gave people a lot of definition of imminence.
Okay, they're just talking. So I just want to make sure I cover things in the chat. Kim Hawkins, I'm with you. They blocked off the highway for this. Really? Blue Fire saying, play devil went down to Georgia for us, low in the background. There we go. Elizabeth B, yes, I don't care, Meadow Boy. Yes, Meadow Boy has been, we do have a mugshot of him. He came in earlier. Wow. Allison, do you get more money if we support through PayPal or through YouTube? PayPal. But the YouTube super chats tell YouTube to push me up in like suggesting me to people. So it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other in a sense. Thank you. Yes, Elf Darwin stars. Let's make playing cards with all these mugshots. Well, that's what they did with the Nazis. They actually, the ones who escaped, they would make playing cards with the pictures of the various escaped officers. So thank you, AR. Thank you. And Coffee Confessor says, apparently in the filings in D.C. where Trump asked for a trial date in 2026, Smith put in something about having all of the Secret Service emails and texts. They didn't wipe the server. Oh, good. All right. So, and then there's something there about Jeffrey Clark. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your information, everything up to date. Everything is happening so quickly. Yes. Lisa Graham saying Trump is a germaphobe. Wait until he gets a load of Fulton County Jail. Fulton County Jail is actually under investigation for, it is under investigation for particularly bad what do you call it? Conditions. So, yeah. And someone said it is possible to go in and make the closed captioning larger, but I have not found a way to do that. Silly. Anyway, all right. Yes, Meadows, the Meadows mugshot, he very much looked angry. Uncover the news, great news. Okay, that's an interesting shot right there. Thank you, E. Thank you.
The roads, you see they've got the overpasses blocked off as well. And this is Trump's motorcade heading from the airport to downtown Atlanta to go to the Fulton County Jail. While we're looking at this shot, I'd like to get a little bit of expert advice here from Robert James. He's the former district attorney, the former DA from DeKalb County. He's now a criminal defense attorney. Mr. James, thanks very much for being with us for this live coverage.
Thank you for having me.
Can you explain to us, and forgive those of us who aren't lawyers and don't know this stuff, even at a basic level, but what is actually entailed by the booking process and how the bail part of this works? I feel like I'm still not totally clear on why a $200,000 bail means you only have to put up 1/10 of that. You only have to put up $20,000.
Sure. So let's start with the booking process. The booking process is, look, it's very simple. It's very plain. There's no ceremony. He's going to walk into a booking area, a small room. He'll be fingerprinted. It's most likely going to be electronic. And then, pursuant to Georgia law, there will be a mugshot taken. After that, I expect that he'll be released soon thereafter. It's not going to be like it is normally when a person gets arrested off the street and, they have to go sit in a jail cell for 6, 7, 8, 10 hours, or maybe even a day and a half for 2 days before they see a judge. In this case, the bond has been preset. And so they're gonna post bond. The bondsman's gonna be there and he'll get out. He's gonna be released right away. It's gonna be a bit of a revolving door, as it were.
Can I just interject for a second to ask? Can I just interject for a second just to ask you about the role of the bondsman? Again, just for those of us who don't cover this type of criminal law on the regular, why is a private business, a bail bondsman, involved in this for somebody like?
Because he's really rich.
Sure. So there are a couple of ways that you can, get out of jail by posting bond. You can pay a cash bond, which means that you can take $200,000 in cash and give it to the court, and they'll hold it to ensure your return. You can put property up, right? And if you don't return, that property is going to be taken. Or you can use a bondsman, and that bondsman essentially goes and pays the $200,000, and you pay that bondsman a percentage of it. Typically, it's anywhere between 10 and 13% of the amount of the bond, and that's for the bondsman to put the money up as a security, as it were, to make sure that you return if you're a criminal defendant to court.
Is there any reason why we should be surprised that Mr. Trump is using a bondsman rather than just using some of his own money?
It's routine. It's normal. Not many people, unless they have a cash-only bond, at least in Georgia, even if they are wealthy, come in and just, tie up $200,000 of their own money. And so I don't know if there's anything unusual about it. I mean, it's sort of surreal that it's him and that he's doing it. But in terms of the process, it's normal.
Can I also just ask you about something
Honestly,
we were
I don't find this
discussing earlier,
surreal.
Mr. James, which is the
decision
that I think surprised a lot of people today after one of the co-defendants invoked his right to a speedy trial. District Attorney Fonnie Willis turned around and said, I'm ready to go 60 days. I'll see you October 23rd, and I'm ready to trial 19 defendants. That struck, I think, a lot of people as very soon and also a very crowded courtroom. You're a real expert on these matters and a former practitioner yourself. What did you make of that today?
Well, you better be careful what you ask for because you just may get it, right? This is a stunt that defense lawyers pull on prosecutors all the time, and they ask for speedy trials. And oftentimes they'll catch the prosecutor, unprepared, and it will benefit the defense attorney. However, in a high-profile case like this, where DA Willis took a year or two in this investigation, look, when she indicted this case, she was ready to go, right? if you're not ready to go, then you shouldn't indict a case like this. And so, you know, the defense lawyer and the defendant that asked for the speedy trial, they're the ones at a significant disadvantage because they're going to have to go through God knows how much evidence in a very short period of time and be ready for trial.
I don't know who this guy is, but I like him. They should have him on more often.
And whether or not all 19 defendants are going to be in the courtroom at the same time. We've seen indication from President Trump's new lawyer today in a filing that he does not, if Kenneth Chesebro wants to be tried that fast, then Trump doesn't want to be tried alongside him. Am I right in surmising that it's all up to the judge whether or not these cases are separated from one another, so-called severed from one another, or whether in fact they are kept intact as a group of 19?
Yeah, it is up to the judge. That's correct. And there will be motions to sever. I would be shocked if anyone else asked for a trial in October. Discovery or the state's file is not turned over until after the arraignment calendar in Georgia, right? And they have even longer by law, they being the state. And so, you know, they're asking for a speedy trial and they haven't even seen the state's file. And so, look, defense lawyers are going to ask for this case to be severed, and I expect that the judge will grant that request.
Robert James, former district attorney for DeKalb County, Georgia. Absolutely invaluable to have you with us tonight during this live coverage, sir. Thank you. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
We continue to watch this live image of the motorcade, Secret Service motorcade for former President Donald Trump as he speeds from the Atlanta airport to the Fulton County Jail.
Thank you, Sherry.
No matter how many times you say it, doesn't get less weird.
No,
but this is
not
happening.
weird.
He
It's
is
fine.
turning up
I'm good
on
with
his
it.
own time frame. He had to be there sometime before noon tomorrow. He chose now to surrender, to be fingerprinted, have his mugshot taken, and to start the process that will next result in his arraignment in probably a week and a half or so. Joining us now is NBC News correspondent Vaughn Hilliard, who's outside the Fulton County Jail in Atlanta for us tonight as the president's motorcade approaches. Vaughn, what's the scene where you are? What's it like there now?
Right, we're expecting, I'm watching the same footage you guys are from atop here. We're expecting him to arrive any minute. I'll have our great photog, Brian, kind of show you the scene here. We are on Jefferson Street right now, Rachel. We are outside of the Fulton County Jail where the streets, there is a perimeter that has been set up around this facility. Typically, the jail is open for 24 hours, but over the course of these hours in which the former president was expected, they have put this facility here on lockdown. You know, to give you an idea, I talked to a gentleman yesterday, late yesterday evening. He walked out of the jail and he told me, I saw Rudy Giuliani.
Thank you,
he said, as he put it, that he was in the slammer with 40 other individuals when the former New York City mayor walked by through the booking process. This is exactly what we expect Donald Trump to go through himself. We also expect that mugshot to be taken. The sheriff here in Fulton County has not suggested otherwise here at this point. This is really the beginning of Donald Trump's Georgia journey, at least the legal one. Just today, he brought on a new attorney, ousting his previous attorney, Drew Findling, who had been working for more than a year on building what would amount to his potential defense in the case of an indictment. But today, he brought on this new attorney. Donald Trump has made it clear that he wants this trial to begin after the 2024 election. But one of his co-defendants, Kenneth Chesebro, filed a motion today.
Okay, we've heard all that. Okay, I just wanted to say in here, I agree, and I'm so sorry it got lost earlier, but who was it who was saying that, yes, the fact that the streets and the overpasses were shut down, protocols put in place after 1963. So that does make sense. Oh, goodness gracious. It's like a parade. Really?
Street in the heart of Atlanta. This is the former president's motorcade pulling into the facility here. This may be the exact opposite of a pride parade if I've ever been to one.
Sorry, reference point there is called Bikes on Bikes. It's the start of the pride parade. You know things are about to get fun. This is a different feeling, but similar number of wheels.
You've rendered Vaughn speechless.
One thing we're looking at, and Vaughn will pipe back in, but one thing we're looking at is, of course, the two sides of this that are both at issue in the alleged coup and in today's proceeding, that you do have federal law enforcement involved in the protection of a former president. Most people do not. He is what we call a protectee for life. That he did have people who were able to respond to lawful orders while president. And so this continues now. I knew we were going to watch this tonight, Rachel, but I'm almost seeing it like this. It's really surreal because it physically shows the combining of the two arms of authority here. This is the federal authority protecting the former president and the state authority that is booking him as a defendant with rights, but as a defendant who could be convicted and forcibly incarcerated if convicted. We're seeing both these things in the motorcade entering the jail
That's a
facility.
striking image there. You can see the jail itself, recognizable to all of us who have ever driven past an urban jail. You see that at the top of your screen there as the motorcade pulls into the parking lot that has been presumably cleared for security purposes for this moment. We do expect that we may see the former president exit the vehicle and walk into the jail. Actually, forgive me, in the center of your screen there, that's a sort of sally port, so it's a covered area. So presumably he will enter through there, which means we may not see him physically get out of the vehicle, but we'll have to see in terms of how this goes.
Rachel, can I say something about his pathetic email?
Yes.
It's not an innocent man walking into jail. It depends on the forum. That's a fundraising pitch to pay for the gas to get that campaign grifter plane home. He is not denying the conduct. He does not deny the greatness of January 6th. I mean, this is about exploiting and endangering his own base of support. It's about using them to pay for a defense for crimes he doesn't even deny committing. The whole thing is a scam.
There has not been a defense mounted either by him or by any of his Republican supporters.
Or lawyers.
Based on, well, Findling has said he didn't, told Ari he didn't commit any crimes. He didn't break any laws. I think it's the only time I've ever heard anybody say that in the context of this case. The defense is not he didn't do it. The defense is he should not be charged no matter what he did. That what he did shouldn't be charged as a crime, despite prima facie what he admits to in terms of his behavior. But let me just reiterate, let's just underscore with this moment. This is the county jail in Fulton County, Georgia, which is a jail that is under federal civil rights investigation. It is a notorious jail. There have been horrific deaths in custody there, including a recent one, a very high profile one of a prisoner, I don't like the term inmate for complicated reasons, but a prisoner who was found on the psych ward effectively inside the Fulton County jail, dead and with a terrible insect infestation. I mean, this is a facility that is decrepit, and the Fulton County, Georgia sheriff has asked for $2 billion effectively to build an entirely new facility because this place is such a disgrace and it is so dangerous. Donald Trump is likely to have a very quick pass-through in his experience there, but that is the facility that he is in, and they did not put him somewhere tidier for this part of the process, and that itself says a lot about what it means to be subject to the criminal justice system and treated like a citizen rather than as a VIP.
Amy, and to the point that you made, I'm sorry, the point that you were making, just to amplify it, it is actually kind of remarkable to watch a former president have to submit to state authority, have to submit to, it is sort of a Federalist kind of triumph, right? That no matter how high you are, no matter what sort of rung of power you achieve, and he achieved the highest one in American politics, in the end, you're just a citizen. And you have to go through the filthy jail if you're accused of it.
Yeah, you're a citizen, and we're looking at back and forth of the shot Rachel was describing, and then inside that other pool shot from inside one of the vehicles. Sometimes people ask us what's going to happen in the future.
Worcester?
Is he going to be convicted? I always say I don't know. I could tell you, to Rachel's point earlier, I know about past RICO cases.
Okay, we'll get back to this in a minute. I'll get kicked out by YouTube if I don't interrupt it every once in a while. Julia Worcester is saying the bedbugs are petitioning for Trump not to be incarcerated there. Yes. Yeah, this is, people are saying it's a fitting place for him. Like Maya and there's some others. Kristen from Uncover the News says Newsmax is showing footage of Trump heading to jail while James Comer bangs on and on about Hunter Biden. Yeah, right. Yes, that's a good idea, Sharon Rice. But yes, trying to raise enough money to pay the gas so his grifter plane can go home. That was good, Nicole. All right, That's true. It's that is a point. People are making a point that Trump already knows all about bed bugs. Bug beds? Yeah. Okay, Suburban Housewife cards. House. I just pulled some cards on Trump, and basically what I was getting is it's just go through the motions right now. And I'm not entirely certain that he isn't a little bit sedated, slightly. Entertainment only YouTube. But he got to go in his big plane, his big in his grifter plane, and streets were cordoned off, and all these people, everything was organized for him to be taken somewhere. And then he goes inside, and they walk him through. Stand here. Are you this? Is this your name? Is this your whatever? Here, you have to roll your fingers over this for your fingerprints. We'll take a picture, and then he gets back into his luxurious motorcade and goes home. So it's right now. It's going through the motions. Ooh, it's official. Sarah just sent me. I think this is from Kristen, but Sarah just sent it to me. Defendant, last name Trump, first name Donald. Arresting agency, Fulton County Sheriff's Office, charges, big long list of charges. So we can listen for a second.
You were making about seeing this visual about seeing a lifelong federal protectee of the Secret Service brought to state authority.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to stop this for a second because I want to share this with you. This is special. This is a moment we have been waiting for. Hang on just a second. Ta-da! Yes, indeed. Jail records, search results. Donald Trump, arresting agency, Fulton County Sheriff's Office, charges on the far right. Conspiracy to commit false, conspiracy to commit false statements, filing false documents, solicitation of violation of oath, violation of RICO. Yeah, those are the charges, and they are not wussy little nothing charges. So it is time. Lois McDonald said, "Nice Christmas present." Yeah. Last I heard, if Trump was convicted on everything he's been accused of, is it 400 and some years in prison, or is it? Someone said 7. I don't remember numbers properly. They tend to switch around in my head, but yeah, that's a lot. So let's go back to the news. Aiden, hello. Can't wait for this to be a musical on Broadway. Oh, yeah. All right, let's see here.
Shifts to be around him, so they, in effect, become his guards. Or you could have, again, in the event of conviction, you could have home confinement.
Found guilty.
I should mention, officially, as of now, Donald Trump is under arrest in the state of Georgia. We had confirmation earlier that he had entered the jail, and as of right now, former President Trump is in custody. He has been arrested.
Yay!
Landmark moment, and as I said before, for all the worst reasons.
You know, I just happened to have been with somebody earlier today who actually knows Donald Trump, and we were talking about this very thing. The thing that you were talking about is how he must feel. This isn't like a very, very close friend, but knows him. And said to me that he's a much better actor than people give him credit for. So he actually, is good at portraying a kind of bravado that, to the point Chris Christie made, isn't necessarily real. He is somebody who, just when I was researching the book that I did on him, the people who know him will say that what Donald Trump has always benefited from is stronger men that could protect him, whether it was his father or whether it was an attorney, whether it was Michael Cohen. He always had a bulldog, and they did the fighting. He didn't even like firing people for all his "you're fired" being his thing. He didn't fire anyone. The producers decided who got fired on The Apprentice, and he would just say the words "you're fired." And he's good at delivering the line, but he isn't good at actually doing the thing, firing people.
Correct.
He even hesitated with Jeff Sessions. He was very back and forth on it. So.
He never fired Mueller.
He never fired Mueller.
This is so important, and this is so true. And I think the other part of it is how afraid he was when Michael Cohen became ensnared criminally, because he knows that the people who have protected him have all the goods on him.
That's right.
And the reason he's always had, and I think people close to him would describe it as a fetish for Roy Cohn. I mean, he spent his whole time as president looking for an attorney general that was more like Roy Cohn.
Yeah.
I mean, he has always seen himself as criminally exposed enough to need Roy Cohn.
Yeah, but what did Bill Barr do for him when it came to Michael Cohen? He reincarcerated him for the offense of insisting on writing a book that Trump was afraid would expose him. And so Barr did his Roy Cohn for him.
And go ahead, sir.
I was just going to say is we believe that this process may be coming to a close. Again, what we've just seen is that we have seen Trump's motorcade has arrived at the Fulton County Jail. We had confirmation that he had entered the Fulton County Jail, that he was arrested and was in custody. We now have confirmation that he has been released. So this is a brief period of custody. He was in fact under arrest. He is now released on his own recognizance. We know the terms of his bail. He has posted $200,000 bond. We believe that with the help of a bail bondsman, he had to put up $20,000 cash to that bail bondsman, and the bondsman will put up the remainder. That will assure that he doesn't flee. Donald Trump has already, I should mention, on social media been sort of joking about fleeing to Russia.
No.
Not a great time. Not a great time.
It's like making a bomb threat in an airport. But
You can't even get McDonald's. You have to
if I can quote Rachel on a big news night, when we lived through this whole era, you always said, watch what they do, not what they say. And he can joke about being above the system. We'll see what face he makes if there's a mugshot release. He can do all the theatrics Joy was talking about, and we will cover and fact check it. But the action is to go down to Georgia by the deadline. And the reason is, if he waited past tomorrow, the DA said she would send the police to apprehend him, and he understands that the Secret Service will not interfere with a standing lawful arrest warrant, that they would step aside and he would be taken in the back of a cop car and driven or perhaps, a flight, but however the distance back. And so watch what they do. What he is doing, as I think we're really seeing, I mean, it's kind of hitting me in the moment. It's like he is again, in the physical and legal sense, surrendering, submitting to the power of this DA and this process, while he says and does a lot of other,
and that's your point, Rachel. That's your first point, that he is not in control. He is going to act like he is. He's acting like Hugo Chavez, but he is not. This was not on his timeline. This was not in his venue. This was not his lighting, I am sure, unless he carried a ring light with him. This is not produced.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
And Nicole, you played the video of him saying,
wait a second. No, okay. I know you guys have been mentioning it in the chat, but now we really know Donald Trump has been processed in the Fulton County Jail. Yes. According to, they just asked him. He said he is 6'3" tall. He's not. 215 pounds. Yeah, I'm like, you're kidding, kitty. Mark Meadows said he was 6'1", 240, and Mark Meadows is not heavy. So, really? 215? That is pathetic. Oh, that's pathetic. Oh, he's a good boy. Oh, there's a good Bailey Boo. And Becca's saying, yeah, and I'm Santa Claus riding a unicorn. Yep. Right. 215. I actually, who said that in the chat? Somebody said something about BMI, and I thought 215 BMI, maybe. Kidding. But anyway, okay, get my mouse going.
Will not facilitate any extradition request. setting the table so that if Trump wanted to not voluntarily surrender to that first indictment in New York, Donald Trump was going to be barricaded at Mar-a-Lago while Florida state troopers were asked to protect him from the law enforcement that would otherwise be coming to collect him to bring him to account. I mean, that could have been,
I'm waiting for the mugshot.
We could have been at crazy times X.
Totally.
And we haven't seen that. And that's worth, I think it's worth noting where we are, keeping perspective on that. I would also just say, and this may seem like a small point, but again, had it gone the other way, it would mean something very different. This is a very orderly scene. And you see, I think those are 3 Sheriff's Department buses that are pulled up in front of the Sally Port, essentially to create a smaller corridor there, also to block the view, also presumably for security. They had this planned out. This is the motorcade had a clear run from the airport to the Sheriff's Department. You saw they had cleared the streets. There were, not a ton of protesters, but there were several dozen protesters around, and some people on both sides and lots of media around at the Fulton County Jail today. You are not seeing disorder around this. I was worried about that. I have to tell you personally, when we saw Rudy Giuliani yesterday, day before yesterday? Yesterday. When he turned himself in and then tried to make remarks to reporters, and there was a physical crush around him and chaos that is not at all an entertaining thing to see. And there's no justice in that for anybody. And that was not good. And it did not bode well for this much higher stakes moment with President Trump.
What you're describing requires a lot of communication.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't just happen that there's order. It means they were talking all day, every day. Trump has advanced people, and they were talking around the clock to Fani Willis's team.
Yeah. And Fani Willis made public-facing statements to the authorities in Fulton County about making sure there weren't other trials in the courtroom, talking about court staff and district attorney staff working from home, setting out the time frame well in advance so they could do this sort of planning. When we saw that scrum around Giuliani yesterday, I was worried that for all of that, they had not planned this well. They have clearly planned this well. And that's an important political part of this process in terms of who we are as a constitutional republic. This is law and order. This is the orderly, calm, bloodless,
Eden says the mugshot is out.
Efficient.
Here we go. Here we go.
Prosecution of
this
the
is
law,
what we're here for.
in a situation where
Honestly,
the president is
I
not
wasn't
in
going to stay
control,
on for
but
more
he's
than an hour.
nevertheless safe.
But I'm here till
and
the
he's being
mugshot.
treated in accordance with due process, as any American has as their right.
And it is important to note that happened despite the fact that, as we've
I
all
wanna
been
see the
covering,
mugshot. Come on, do
the
it.
atmospherics before today have been deeply disturbing. The kind of messages that Fani Willis has been getting, the threats that her staff have been getting, the threats that everyone involved in this have been enduring, have been terrifying. Those barricades have been up for weeks in front of the courthouse. I mean, they've been preparing, and Trump has been all but calling for civil war. And I want,
everyone
he's
chant,
not gotten any
mugshot,
of it, right? He's
mugshot,
calling for
mugshot.
massive protests and massive resistance and all the rest. It hasn't happened. But the atmospherics leading into today, it is a relief to see that it is so calm, because it's been so deeply ugly and frightening before.
I was
today.
surprised.
Aiden says he looks like
when
a very
he,
angry Oompa Loompa.
Used one of his social media accounts to repost a call for protest today. Somebody who said they were going to be traveling
Aiden, I've missed you.
from out of state to Atlanta to Fulton County today,
Like
and
an
they gave
angry
the
Oompa
actual
Loompa.
address, the street address of the jail. Trump reposted that himself, effectively calling on people to turn out and protest for him today in Fulton County, which you might expect would have a big effect on his followers, particularly the way that he has attacked Fani Willis and this prosecution and the number of people who were prosecuted alongside him in this case. And the turnout, once again,
We just have to
was
give him a minute.
one, to say the least. He's not able to turn out people in the street to defend him here. Now, that doesn't mean that we haven't seen people do disturbing other things in response. We've had a lot of people arrested. We've had a few instances of violence where people say they are acting in his name or out of anger in terms of the way that he's being treated. But in terms of him threatening to make the streets run with blood, or to see that the biggest protests America's ever seen, and America's going to be sorry if the criminal justice system is ever brought to bear against him, he talked that game, but he has not been able to walk that walk.
Okay. We're just. Oh gosh, Aiden, bless you. Okay, he does. He looks like an angry Oompa Loompa. Look. I can't. Oh my gosh. worth it. Oh, it's so worth it. Oh gosh. Oh god. Oh god. I'm dying. Save me. I'm going down. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Oh my gosh, that is glorious. He's so mad. He's so mad. Oh my gosh. Oh, let me see if I can save this. Hang on, save image. Oh gosh. All right, let me go into stop. Oh, hang on, share screen. We'll go back to this. They're still talking. Let me cut that down so you can see it better.
Just one news point. We do have confirmation here, as you see on your screen, that the former president did have a mugshot taken inside the jail. And you see the motorcade starting to move here. Trump has been taken into custody and then released in Fulton County, Georgia. This is his federal motorcade with Secret Service protection and an inordinate number of motorcycle escorts. Good for him. He's leaving the Fulton County jail here. These are live images that you're watching, that we're watching along with you. See, there's the start of the parade. We do not know when we will have access to the president's mugshot, but we do expect that that will be released alongside the ones that Ari was just describing that we've seen from so many other of these high-profile figures. Our friend Chris Hayes joins us now here at the table. Chris, as we watch this live shot, I just have to ask, what seems, what do you think is memorable about this moment?
Well, what Ari was just saying before, there's a few things going on. There's a surreality to it. There's the strangeness of this now being like a thing that we get together and do every few weeks, which is bizarre. And I think also to your point about the protests, like attenuates a little bit some of the desire to go in protest. Like, well, maybe we'll get the one in September.
Yeah.
Like, a little cooler.
Okay, we've heard that. So share screen. Up close in all its glory. I will kill you with my eyes. He does. He looks like an angry Oompa Loompa. Look how red his eyes are, too. Oh, that man has not slept in days. I've got to read on Trump. This is classic. Moonbeam, that's a point. That's not the tie he was wearing when he got off the plane. You have a point. He was wearing a red tie when he got off the plane. He changed ties for his mugshot? Really? So now I'm curious what tie he's going to be wearing when he gets off the oh, there you go. When he gets on the plane, Ms. MCAT says, "Ooh, what a hottie." Oh my gosh. He's all mad. He's all madly. He's vaguely madly. Oh my gosh. Yes, and that is bad spray tan. All right, 3 of Swords. Heartbroken that he's been held accountable. Oh no. Oh gosh. Okay. Yeah, looks like he's trying to be the really mean guy on the cover of like a heavy metal album. Oh gosh. All right. I'm curious what they yeah, he does have a different tie on. He's bigly mad, and I do really wonder if, first of all, this was brief. I mean, it was temperance. He's going home. There's the Mar-a-Lago card. Five of Wands is rancor amongst the whole thing. Of course, he's upset. Queen of Cups, Ace of Cups. He's mostly thinking about Bonnie Willis. He's thinking about all kinds of horrible. I've said this before. I'll say it again. In my opinion, I believe this man has really, really violent fantasies about what he wants to do to people he doesn't like. Huck I. Berry says hospital records exposed Trump's weight to be 322 pounds. That sounds a bit more accurate. Quit that. Quit it. Quit it. He doesn't understand why are we over here? We should be relaxing in the great chair of happiness. Okay, we're just gonna eat random things. Okay. Anyway. Oh my gosh. So oh gosh, I'm dying. Aiden Reed's Tarot says the photographer brought out the good camera. And you know what? This is better lighting. This is better lighting than the other ones. Because Hal Sparks was looking at like a group, like a 9 of the other mugshots. And he was, of course, he started out with the indicted bunch. That's how they became the indicted bunch. And he had not, because he had a picture with 9 of the mugshots. And he was talking about how bad the lighting was. So Kristen says, alert, fake mugshot of Trump circulating. Is this the fake one? Hang on. Let me see. What have you got, MSNBC? Trump mugshot taken during booking. Is it not out yet? Okay, if that's fake, at least we got a laugh out of it. Hang on. Let me share. See when MSNBC gets it. That would be hysterical. Oh, okay. Fine. That's fine. I laughed so hard. Oh, it was. Okay, there's the original. All right, that was fake. All right, I stand corrected. So we're waiting on the actual mugshot. But oh my gosh, that was so funny. It does. It looks so believable. Absolutely. So, it was hilarious. That was completely worth it. Yeah, we did deserve the laugh, Maya. I agree. Oh, bless you. All right, so we're waiting. Like, oh no, Aiden, that was totally worth it. That was just worth it in general. AJ says that was his wedding photo. Oh, that was good. That was good. Valerie Sargent, I agree. It won't be any better. I agree. Oh, Wayne Rich says the real one won't be much different. That's true. Jenny Strange, it was a great fake, yes. But let's expect worse lighting than that. A red tie and yeah. All right, we're waiting.
Entered the jail, that he had been arrested, he was therefore in custody, and then that he had been released. We were able to report that he has been had his mugshot taken. We presume he's also had his fingerprints taken. Can you describe just the actual physical setting he would have been in while all that happened and what that experience would have been like for him?
Oh gosh, that was so. He
Right.
looks like
The
an
area
angry
where
Oompa Loompa.
individuals
That
are
was
turning themselves in
classic.
go in the jail is separate
I haven't
from,
laughed out hard in a
the
long time.
cells where
Thank you,
people are
Aiden.
held. So it's a lobby
Thank you.
type area where he's brought in. He will be brought to a counter. His fingerprints will be taken, the mugshot taken. Someone behind the computer will input the bond to verify that it's been posted. That updates, and then he's released. So it's a pretty standard process. It doesn't take very long at all. And he is separate from what you would think of as the main part of the jail, where those who are waiting for their turn in court to be held, those who are there for an extended period of time. So he's not in that area.
And you're there at the Justice Center in Fulton County right now. It appears to us, looking at the camera shots that we have from outside, that it's a very controlled, very orderly environment, very secure environment, which is important both for his safety and for everybody else's. From where you've been today, where you're standing now, and what you've seen over the course of this evening, is it a safe, orderly, well-secured environment? How have they handled the media presence, protesters, et cetera?
Thank you, Lois. Thank you.
It is. The officials here are very used to high-profile cases, high-profile individuals. They bring in resources from other jurisdictions if necessary to make sure that the scene is secured. There are separate entrances that they can use if necessary to bring individuals in and out of the courthouse separate from the public interest. Of course, if someone wishes to go in and out the public interest to have that camera time, they're welcome to do that, but they don't have to. There's a way to get high-profile individuals in and out of the courthouse safely while not disrupting as much of the business as usual.
He gets arraigned with everybody else on September 5th.
Ms.
Is
Redmond,
my
as somebody
understanding.
who has prosecuted cases in Fulton County, I'm just going to put to you the same question that I put to former DeKalb County DA Robert James a few moments ago, which was, I just like to get your take on something that happened today in court filings, which I think was a surprise to a lot of people, after one of the Trump co-defendants invoked his right to a speedy trial, Kenneth Cheesebro. Fani Willis responded in a court filing today and said, "Oh, you want a speedy trial?
How far they've fallen.
I could put all 19 of you in a courtroom and start your trial 60 days from today. And October 23rd, we're ready to go with all of you." That obviously would be a remarkably crowded courtroom and a very, very quick time frame. But I just wanted your reaction to that in terms of how we should view that. What do you think the practical impact is of that today?
So I don't think anyone who's practiced in Fulton County would be surprised. And if you ask for a speedy trial, you need to be ready to have that speedy trial. And I think what we can take away from this is the 2.5 years that DA Willis spent building this case. It wasn't built to present to the grand jury. She was building a case to present to a jury, to take this case to trial. And I think she indicated that
Cindy Harris says the mugshot will come tomorrow.
When she said she wanted to try this case within 6 months.
But the memes have begun.
I don't think logistically anyone thinks the case will actually be tried, or would have thought the case would have been tried in 6 months absent a speedy. But I think that was her indicating.
Okay. I just wanted to say I pulled some cards. Wheel of Fortune. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. How the awful who were through dumb luck raised to a height they didn't belong at have fallen. Hermit, Ace of Pentacles, King of Pentacles. He thinks he's going to go raise a whole lot of money off of this. Matter of fact, I want to say that isn't he doing a fundraiser for Giuliani? Is that tonight? When is that? Gloria, the October 23rd trial is not for Trump. So, but anyway, he thinks he's going to make a lot of money, but actually, and then King of Cups, Page of Cups, it's just tomorrow's another day. Yeah. So yes, Lois, celebrate good times. Come on. All right, quit chewing on my nails. Okay, you're upset and you need to go down. Come on. You need to get down. Get down. Goodness gracious. Okay, Aunt Dot, thank you so much. Thank you. There's another one that just came out. Should I send it? Sure, it's probably not real. But yeah, any fake mugshots, if it's entertaining, let's have it. M. Kelby says October 23rd is Dumpy's first day with Letitia. Oh, there we go. Yep. Oh, more paper, please. Thank you so much. That's true, Jay. Trump, nothing bad happened. I guess your people just aren't that into you. That's true.
And helpful and practical. Thank you so much
true.
for sharing your insight with us tonight from outside the Fulton County Courthouse. Really appreciate it. Lawrence O'Donnell has joined us here in New York. Lawrence, we're watching this motorcade, again, just to recap for folks who may just be joining us. Former President Trump drove from Bedminster to Newark. He flew from Newark to Atlanta. He had a motorcade from the Atlanta airport to the Fulton County Jail. He was taken into custody, arrested. We believe he was fingerprinted, and we know that he had his mugshot taken. He was then released from custody, got back in the motorcade, and this motorcade is now approaching the Atlanta airport to take him back to New Jersey.
Rachel, I think the most important verdict to render right now tonight is on the exhaustion of the Trump voter in terms of protesting for Donald Trump. It's over. We had reason to have some concern when he announced his first arrest was coming in Manhattan and summoned people there, begged people to come. And remember, within an hour's drive of Manhattan, there are literally millions of Trump voters in New Jersey, in New York, in Long Island, in Connecticut. In Manhattan alone, there are tens of thousands of Trump voters. They didn't show up. 24 of them showed up. They were very peaceful. I walked
parking's hard.
Huh?
Parking's hard.
Parking is hard. M. Kelby saying Jimmy Jim Jordan's he's all upset. Oh, poor Jimmy Jim.
A very important thing to stop worrying about. This is not part of what's going to happen here. And then the other thought, as you've all been discussing, is this question, as I've been staring at him today, of how he got to this. And he got to this because of the agony of being Donald Trump. There's a thing that Donald Trump can't process, that every other adult has processed, every other 12-year-old at some point has processed, and that is coming in second. It happens. I've come in last. I mean, it happens, and everybody processes it, and they go on. And we've all known better students than us. We've all known better writers than us. We've all known better athletes than us. When we live with it and we admire them if we're sane. But if you're Donald Trump, it's the thing that must never be admitted. And because he couldn't admit it, he took himself into criminal conduct because he came in second.
He said after he won in 2016 that it was also rigged.
Yes,
he did. He said when he won the Republican primaries that those were rigged. Yeah. He said before he lost the 2020 election that it would not matter what the election result was because it had been rigged and stolen from him. So it wasn't, yes, not wanting to come in second, but not wanting to be subject to competition, not wanting to be subject to a competition that is viewed as a meritocratic competition, wanting to be seen as somebody who unimpeachably wins regardless of what happens in the actual contest. And that is what's so dangerous about it for democracy. It's not just that you can't handle losing, it's that you don't think that you should be subject to the will of the people.
Right? Well, his pathology is that he fears humiliation more than any other possible condition in life. Therefore, he creates more of it. Well, he ends up creating more of it. There's nothing more humiliating than being forced to sit for a mugshot. That's where he got himself in his fear of humiliation. That he thought losing an election was humiliating enough, and so he fought that because he just couldn't stand it. And this is where he is.
Here's a question I've been trying to figure out as we watch this. Right, so we're watching this now because he negotiated for this to happen at this hour. Right?
Yes.
And he
prime time, less than 24 hours after the debate. Yes.
All right. So
he is why we're all here.
Right. He is why we're all here. So Donald Trump, I think,
I'm here for Fonnie Willis.
He has a theory about the value of attention, which I think is very much born of the world of New York tabloid media, particularly in the 1980s, which is that there's
born of mental illness. Everyone grew up with New York tabloids. If they don't,
but I think he thinks that all attention's good attention, right? If as long as you spell the name right, like, and that's the way that he won. And I think you know, in the context of the primary in 2015, 2016, it was true. Like, it was clearly the case that all the attention paid to him was a competitive advantage. It's a huge part of why he was able to pull out the primary.
I'm just noting what you're seeing here in terms of people hustling and those lights that are there, which was not the sort of thing that you usually see on an airport tarmac. We did think that this was a possibility tonight. We didn't know for sure that it was going to happen, but it looks like Trump may decide to make public remarks before he gets back on his big private plane and flies back to New Jersey. If he does that, we're not going to take those remarks live, but we will cover them for their newsworthiness. As we've said in the past, there is a cost to us as a news organization of knowingly broadcasting untrue things. And given his previous remarks on the subject that we are almost sure he will speak on.
Okay, this is funny. I'm getting information from Aiden, and apparently there are some other fake. Oh, by the way, you see that it says signature there? I didn't work for Signature, but the person at the front desk there, that's the job that's one of the jobs I've had, where you work at the part of the airport, the front desk where the private planes come in and out. So I know what the person at the desk, well, there's probably more than one, there's probably managers there, but on the average day, the person at the desk, that was one of the jobs I've had. And I do not envy the person who's there now. And yes, Darren, thank you, MSNBC, for not covering any remarks by this blankety blank. Yeah, post what you want, Bluefire. I don't delete much in the comments or what have you, unless somebody's being really awful. Sarah, yes, that was a nice way of saying we're not dealing with his lying blank. Yes. Sarah's in the chat. Yay. Aiden is trying to find the other. Okay, so we're not really listening to that anyway. So let me pull up the other. Okay, there's another fake. All right, right now. Another fake mugshot that's going around. This isn't the right one because the background's wrong, but let's just have a look. So this is one that's going around. At least the lighting is a little bit more accurate, but hide the jowls, hide the neck. Yeah. There is that. Hang on a second. Let me. He's already said he was going to put his own mugshot on a mug and sell it. Apparently, there's another one. There is another one out there, but it's not here, where he looks like a recently unemployed Oompa Loompa. Memes have started. Aiden was kind enough to send me this. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, and is it Jenna Ellis down here? It does. It looks like a picture on a dating app. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And Elflower 1 stars. It doesn't have the Fulton star in the background, right? Oh, Mal's asking, did you see the one where they were all photoshopped as different Batman villains? No. Ooh. Okay, so we'll stop that. You know what? It's been an hour and 20 minutes, and apparently we're not. Yeah, they're making up fake ones at this point. So I'm going to. I've been going all day, so I am going to go retire to the gray chair of happiness here, and relax with the kitty. thank you so much for being here with me. See, he's getting all cranky. And I'm so grateful you were here with me. And my gosh, it was worth it just for that fake mugshot. That was so awesome. But thank heavens, this jerk is finally headed towards justice. And I keep getting over and over and over, this is not going to go well for him at all. He's going to lose these cases. It's going to be good. And our country is going to be better for it. So have a wonderful rest of your night. I'll be back here at noon tomorrow. I'm on every single day of the year, every holiday, every day. And I'll be back here tomorrow at 12 o'clock Chicago time. So say goodnight, boo-boo. Grumpy. Say goodnight, Grumpy. All right. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care. Thank you for being here. See you tomorrow.